right now, he did a dig in about a 20 by 20 foot area, and he was able to find over 100,000 different artifacts. So he was able to find lots of different bits of information to tell us kind of the story of these ancient people. Now, some of those artifacts we have on display in our aquarium, which is totally free to the public. Y'all can go check that out. And it'll have some plaques with some information, a lot more information than I'll be able to remember right now. But some of the most important things we learned from his dig here is that he found something called a Clovis point. And Clovis points are some of the oldest arrowhead-looking things that anyone has ever found. And they're also very, very rare. You don't really ever find these Clovis points because they're so old. But he was able to find hundreds of Clovis points in this spot. And with that information, we were able to determine that humans have been coming and going from these springs since around the last ice age. Ooh. So we actually believe that Spring Lake and this area, these springs, is one of the longest persistently inhabited areas anywhere in North America. 45 to 63, I'm going to be making my way to Deep Hole now.
So what's the white PVC doing right now?
So the PVC pipe, back whenever they were doing the dig, they were doing it underwater. So they were in full scuba gear, they were underwater, and they were brushing away the dirt with their hands, and it would get really dirty and cloudy, and they wouldn't be able to see. So what they did with that pipe is they would pump in fresh water. That way they could see what they were doing. So that's what that pipe was for back then. But nowadays we just keep it down there because some endangered animals have got into that area and kind of made it their home. So we don't want to take it out. We figured it'd probably do more damage if we took it out than if we just left it in there. So there's a turtle down there. And right next to that turtle is a little plant. It kind of looks like lettuce, but that's actually little baby lily pads down there. So that bright green plant is little baby lily pads. And eventually they'll grow up and they'll get to the surface. We're gonna be entering the deepest part of Spring Lake now, and we're gonna get to see one of our here. Okay. If y'all will look for a spot where there's white sand sort of bubbling up from the ground, yeah, that's one of the first springs we'll look at. So these are little bubbling springs. We've got two different types of springs here that we're gonna see in Spring Lake. One of them is these bubbling springs, and then another one has a little bit stronger of a flow, and we'll see that in just a second. But I really like these bubbling springs because you can see like how the water is affecting the sand around it. And so all of this water is coming from an underground cave system called the Edwards Aquifer. And the Edwards Aquifer is this big underground cave full of limestone rocks and limestone sand. And gravel, and so as that water flows through the rocks and the gravel, it gets naturally filtered. So whenever it finally gets pushed out of these springs, it comes out perfectly clear. That's why Spring Lake is so crystal clear. And so those little springs there, they only have a little teeny tiny hole